1972. A workshop in Trim, County Meath, Ireland. Inside a converted industrial building, on a floor that had never seen armour plate before, a small team of engineers welded together a steel-hulled vehicle unlike anything Ireland had ever attempted. There was no production line. There was no defence industry behind them. There was no military tradition of manufacturing anything heavier than a rifle. The country that was building this machine had no experience, no precedent, and no guarantee that any army on earth would ever buy it. It looked unfinished. It looked improvised. A four-wheeled armoured box, low to the ground, anonymous in colour, with a blunt face and firing ports cut into its sides like afterthoughts. Officers who saw the early prototypes were unconvinced. Defence procurement officials from other nations looked at the country that had built it and moved on to the Swiss, the French, the British. What those officials missed would spend the next 5 decades proving them wrong. The vehicle they dismissed would be licensed to Belgium, acquired by Mexico, transferred to Tanzania, and embedded into the technology of armoured vehicles now serving in Australia, Taiwan and Ukraine. Its suspension systems would find their way into Russian military trucks. Its engineering lineage would produce over 1,000 vehicles on 3 continents, and it would be built by a team led by a man who had already designed 2 of the most important British armoured vehicles of the Cold War, then walked away from Britain to do it better at home. Its name was the Timoney Armoured Personnel Carrier. It was the only domestically designed and built armoured vehicle Ireland ever produced. To understand why the Timoney existed, you need to understand the problem Ireland faced in 1972, and the man it turned to for the answer. Professor Seamus Timoney was born in Galway in 1926. He was an engineer's engineer, the kind of man who turned down a place on the Irish Olympic boxing team for the 1948 London Games because the competition clashed with his university examinations. He graduated from University College Dublin with a degree in mechanical and electrical engineering in 1949, and within 2 years had joined Alvis in Coventry, one of Britain's premier armoured vehicle manufacturers. By 1951, Timoney was head of development at Alvis. In that role, he contributed directly to the design of the Saracen Armoured Personnel Carrier and the Saladin Armoured Car, 2 vehicles that would go on to serve with the British Army across multiple continents, and that would later be deployed extensively in Northern Ireland during the very conflict that sent Timoney back to Ireland with a new purpose. He returned to University College Dublin in 1954 as a lecturer. He became a professor, then head of department. He earned his doctorate for designing a variable compression ratio multi-fuel engine. He was the first Irish member of the Fellowship of Engineering. In 1965, he made national front-page news with a vehicle engine that operated without a gearbox. And in 1968, he and his brothers Iana and Sian established an engine research plant in Dublin. By 1971, this had become the Timoney Technology Group, operating from Trim in County Meath. The Troubles changed everything. Northern Ireland was burning. The British Army was using Saracens in Belfast. Vehicles Timoney himself had helped design, in conditions they were never intended for. The Irish Defence Forces needed modern armoured personnel carriers urgently, and buying from Britain was politically impossible. The Irish government invested £400,000 through Gaeltara Éireann, took a 49% stake in Timoney's company, and announced plans to order 200 vehicles. Seamus Timoney began building in spring of 1973. The first prototype, the Mark I, was delivered to the Irish Army in October of that year. It was a 4x4 wheeled vehicle, all welded, with high-hardness steel armour between 9.5 and 12.7mm thick. That armour stopped 5.56mm and 7.62mm armour-piercing rounds at point-blank range, and protected against splinters from a 105mm artillery shell detonating 10 metres away. The windscreens were 81mm of laminated bullet-resistant glass, offering equivalent protection to the steel hull itself. The design carried 2 crew and 10 soldiers. 3 doors opened 180 degrees. 7 firing ports covered the sides and rear. The engineering beneath the hull was where the Timoney separated itself from every rival. The suspension was fully independent double wishbone with helical coil springs and hydraulic dampers, giving 300mm of wheel travel. Most wheeled armoured personnel carriers of the era used rigid axles. The Timoney did not. It rode like something built for the terrain rather than built despite it. Top speed reached 100 km/h. The vehicle was fully amphibious without preparation, propelled through water by its wheels. Front and rear axle components were fully interchangeable. Each wheel hub contained a patented reduction gear. The engine in the early marks was a Chrysler 5.9-litre petrol unit, producing 180 brake horsepower, mated to an Allison fully automatic transmission and a Timoney transfer gearbox that shifted between two-wheel and four-wheel drive without stopping. Now, before we get into where this vehicle actually served, if you are enjoying this deep dive into military engineering history, hit subscribe. It takes a second, costs nothing, and it helps the channel grow. 4 prototypes were built in rapid succession between 1973 and 1974, each correcting failures discovered in the last. The Mark I overheated. It was withdrawn and stripped for parts. The Mark II leaked oil seals and was retired in 1977. The Mark III covered 12,537 miles by April of 1980. Each failure refined the specification. Each solution was folded into the next variant. The Mark IV was the first true production version. 5 vehicles were ordered in December of 1977 and delivered between June of 1979 and 1980. They mounted a twin 7.62mm machine gun turret. The Mark VI followed in 1983, the definitive production variant. 5 more vehicles were delivered with a turbocharged diesel engine, improved range, and a Creusot Loire turret mounting a 12.7mm heavy machine gun with a coaxial 7.62mm light machine gun. Soldiers who served in them reported them easier to maintain than the Panhard armoured personnel carriers that made up the bulk of the Irish fleet. The Mark VI vehicles served until 1999. Ireland never received the 200 vehicles it had announced. It received 13. The story outside Ireland was more consequential. In 1976, the Belgian firm Beherman de Moen negotiated a license from Timoney's company to produce an improved version designated the BDX. The BDX was mechanically identical to the Timoney Mark V with the same engine, transmission, transfer gearbox, and independent suspension, but with the driver repositioned centrally for a better field of view. Belgium ordered 123 vehicles. 43 went to the Belgian Air Force for airfield security. 80 went to the Belgian Gendarmerie in 3 variants, including a version fitted with a front-mounted dozer blade and a version carrying an 81mm mortar in the rear hull. Deliveries ran from late 1978 through February of 1981 at a contract value of approximately 589 million Belgian francs. Argentina purchased 5 BDX vehicles for the federal police around 1980. They were fitted with locally developed grenade launchers and used in domestic law enforcement. They did not go to the Falklands. Tanzania acquired 2 Timoney armoured reconnaissance vehicles in the early 1980s under a technology transfer agreement, fitted with the turret and 76mm gun from the British Scorpion light tank. Tanzanian engineers were trained in trim, and the design entered local production. When Belgium retired its BDX fleet in the early 1990s, Mexico purchased approximately 95 of the former Belgian vehicles, designated the DNC-2 by the Mexican military. They were deployed to military police units and saw operational use in counter-narcotics operations during the Mexican drug war from 2006 onwards. Mexico became the most significant combat operator of any Timoney family vehicle, more than 30 years after the design left trim. Production rights for the Belgian variant eventually passed to Vickers Defence Systems in the United Kingdom, which developed a further improved version called the Valkyr. 2 Valkyrs were delivered to Kuwait in 1989. They arrived months before Iraq invaded. What became of them in the chaos that followed is not recorded. Against its rivals, the Timoney presented a paradox. On paper, the French Panhard M3 that formed the bulk of the Irish fleet was the safer procurement choice. It was a proven vehicle with worldwide parts networks and 95% components, commonality with the armoured machine gun carrier Ireland already operated. The Swiss MOWAG Piranha, whose prototype appeared in 1972, the same year Timoney began designing, would go on to serve with dozens of armies and be produced in the thousands. The American M113 tracked carrier was already in service with 50 nations. Against this competition, a vehicle built by 13 people in County Meath, of which fewer than 20 were ever delivered as complete units, should not have mattered. But the Timoney's engineering mattered more than the Timoney's production numbers. Its independent suspension was ahead of its time. Its amphibious capability without preparation was a genuine operational advantage. And in the quiet rooms where defence engineers talked to defence engineers rather than defence procurement officials, the name Seamus Timoney carried weight that his country's industry could not. The licenses and technology transfers that flowed from trim across the following decades built something the vehicle itself never could. The Timoney Mark 8 design became the basis for the Bushmaster protected mobility vehicle, built in Australia and now deployed by the Australian Defence Force, and exported to the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, Japan, and, at the personal request of President Zelenskyy in March of 2022, Ukraine. where Bushmasters have seen combat against Russian forces. Taiwan's clouded Leopard armoured vehicle, with up to 1,400 units projected for service with the Republic of China Army, evolved through technology transfer from a Timoney design. Singapore's Bronco all-terrain tracked carrier and Terex 8x8 armoured vehicle both carry Timoney engineering in their drivetrains. In 2012, the Timoney company entered an agreement with the Russian manufacturer KAMAZ to supply suspension systems and axles for armoured military vehicles. Those components were later identified in Russian military trucks deployed in the invasion of Ukraine. The same engineering office that built 13 vehicles for the Irish Army built the mechanical DNA of armoured vehicles on both sides of the same war. Seamus Timoney died in Pamplona, Spain, on November 11, 1991, 2 months after retiring from University College Dublin. He never saw his company acquired by Singapore Technologies Kinetics in 2002, nor the Bushmaster reach Ukraine, nor the further acquisition of his renamed company by the German firm Kessler & Company in August of 2025. The library at Tanzania's Automotive Technology Centre was named in his memory. One Timoney armoured personnel carrier survives at the National Transport Museum in Howth, County Dublin. Back in trim, in a workshop that had no right to produce a vehicle any serious army would buy, the steel was welded and the wheels were bolted, and a professor who had already built the British Army's armoured cars built something quieter and stranger, and ultimately more lasting. It was slow to enter service. Its armour was thin by later standards. Its production numbers were negligible. Its own government lost faith in it before it was finished, and yet it worked. In the streets of Belfast's shadow, in the counter-narcotics patrols of Mexico, in the eucalyptus and dust of Tanzania, in the code of the Bushmaster crossing Ukrainian fields. One man, one workshop, one nation with no defence industry at all. That is not an accident. That is what happens when the engineer is better than the institution behind him.